Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the pre-show. You are at the right place. You have clicked at the right time. Today will be a monumental moment, primarily because you are here. I encourage you to bring your entire self, your whole self. Be open to all that will be shared. There's an amazing curated group of speakers and women. I'm honored to be here because I know how amazing everyone is. I hope you do the same. Right now, I'm just getting ready. It's giving you time to text someone the registration link, have them register, text them the link so that they can tune in and watch. We might not be able to be as amazing as Dr. King and touch millions in this moment. I mean, he's touched millions upon millions via his speech. But it starts with today. So sit back, relax, enjoy yourself. Instead of the countdown, just an example of how amazing this event would be, right? We could have just had like the animated countdown ticker, but they leveled up and they got me. So I'm giving you your warning, 60 seconds. So this is when you go get your beverage, your snack, you text someone else, you go shut the door, you invite other people into your space, whatever it is that you have to do to get comfortable. But be prepared for the next 60 seconds to be amazing, or the next 60 minutes. Speaking of seconds, we're about 30. Yes, you're at the right place. This is the event hosted by Empowering a Billion Women. No, I am not a woman. I'm just a avid supporter, advocate, maybe even ally. I don't know. I'm just a friend. I'm a human. I'm so inspired by Dr. King because she was about humanity. That's what I'm about. I'm about good causes, and this is a great cause. And I also like exclusive things. So to be one of the only few men that'll be on camera today, if not the only one, I'm honored by that. All right. I think it's about the time I get to introduce myself. If you didn't figure it out yet, it's on my hat. All right. We're doing an official count in for myself. 3, 2, 1. What's up, world? I am Saul Paul, musician with the message. I'm excited to be here today. This is an amazing event. Much time and energy has been invested into this event to make it amazing. We're so excited to host it on the weekend of the 57th anniversary of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s famous I Have a Dream speech. I'm here just to set the atmosphere. I'll perform a song and then I'll close it out. You want to stay to the end because our lineup is amazing. You want to stay to the end because at the end is when I will make an improvisational song based on what we collectively experience the next 3,600 seconds, the next 60 minutes. But for now, I'll kick it off with a song that I've already written. The song was, it's called Rise. It's a song that I've had the opportunity to share in many places. I've shared it, across the world, but today I will share it with you. Check it out. Rise, rise, you to shine, yeah. Say rise, rise, and open your eyes. Now is the time for you to shine, yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what I was doing? I'm always processing information. So when I was performing that song, I was thinking like, I think I want to put a beat on this song. So you can't tell, but I'm broadcasting to you live from my studio in Austin, Texas. You should, in the chat, in the comments, you should post where you are, where you're coming from. I'm coming from Austin, Texas. I'm in my studio. I have fancy equipment all around me, but you can't see it. All you see is my cool jacket and my hat. But I can actually like play stuff and record it. So watch this. So now I have a beat so I can play the guitar, and I might even record the guitar. Let's see. Look, mono hands. All right. So we get the live remix. Now check this out. Rise, rise, and open your eyes. Now is the time for you to shine. I'll be here, say rise, rise, and open your eyes. Now is the time for you to shine. Yeah. Say, rise to the moment, rise to the occasion. Open your eyes, recognize there's greatness within your reach. You should seize it, you should take it. Can you see it? Can you taste it? Yes. Hard work and a plan that has a recipe. For success, never launch you where the blessings be. The road to riches, though, that's where the testings be. But I'm focused, so you're not stressing me. A lot of pride, plus a lot of confidence. And my job is to see what is not obvious. I'm a pioneer, an entrepreneur. So I'm gonna work it out till it's smoother than the Lord. Sure. See, I'm gonna make it to the finish line. I got my second win, and now it's finish time. It's like it's finish time, and I am Popeye. Stop short, no, not I. Rise, rise, and open your eyes. Now is the time for you to shine. Don't you help me sing, rise, rise, and open your eyes. Now is the time for you to shine, yeah, yeah, yeah. Now I'm just about through, so we'll pass it on to our wonderful founder, Ingrid Vanderbilt. Just in a few, but before I get to that, I feel like it's my job to make sure that you're ready for what's about to happen. So I want you to move. No matter where you are, you can do this. That's all I want you to do. Check it out. Now put your hands in the sky, from side to side. You're going nowhere, you just make my mind. All the hatred, 2020. A great year, we gon' make it. Put your hands in the sky, from side to side. You're going nowhere, you just make my mind. All the hatred, 2020. A great year, we gon' make it. Rise, rise, and open your eyes. Now is the time for you to shine. Won't you help me sing? Rise, rise, and open your eyes. Now is the time for you to shine. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel it. Live stream. I can connect with my audience. I can tell you are now ready. So with no further ado, yes, my jacket is a popping fluorescent orange, but I'm about to bring up a bright redhead. She goes by the initials IV. Her name is Ingrid Vanderbilt. I've had the opportunity to know her for years. She has been amazing, and she's continually trending upward, which is amazing. Maybe what's more amazing, like Dr. King, she's all about the people. So she's awesome, and she's brought so many people along with her. With no further ado, Ingrid Vanderbilt.
everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Saul Paul, you're about to bring me to tears. I'm sitting here just jamming in the background as you're singing away. You are such a gift to all of us. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And really for bringing me to tears. I'm sitting outside. Hopefully you don't see that reflection. But everyone who has joined us today from across the world, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much to the team at Empowering a Billion Women who have put this event off. We welcome you. We are excited to sit here in unity with you. And wow, just what an honor it is to do this incredible event with you. You know, it's just so hard to believe that it's been 57 years yesterday since Martin Luther King gave his I Have a Dream speech. And in that speech, as I get goosebumps as I'm even saying it, I know part of why you're here is because you, like me, whether you were alive then and actually got to see it live, or whether you read about it and you've seen it like some of us have, where just his words, his wisdom, his insight, his works, and his dedication to really commit his life and the life of his family to create equal opportunity and economic justice for all. And that's why we're here today, because we want to continue living that legacy. We want to continue building on his I Have a Dream speech. And today, you are going to hear from some of the most incredibly inspiring Black women leaders and some amazing men like Saul Paul, who really inspire all of us to believe that it is possible, anything is possible, and it is certainly possible to fulfill his dream. So today, as we spend this hour together, and my dream for you as we come through this event is that you are inspired, you are motivated. A member of our team yesterday said it's not even about empowerment, it's about being in power, to believe that it is possible to be one person that with a committed heart, clear vision and committed heart, when we come together and lock arms together, regardless of race, regardless of background, regardless of our socioeconomic status, that truly anything is possible. And I'm so honored to introduce to you some of my sisters today. You are going to hear from amazing speakers like Ambassador Sujay Johnson Cook, who worked under 2 presidents. You're going to hear from Michele Hoskins, who took her family's syrup recipe and built it into a multi-million-dollar business. You're going to hear from Tiffany Norwood, who she raised $670 million to put satellites into the space and create what we now know as XM satellite radio. You're going to hear from, you've already heard from Saul Paul, the amazing Grammy-nominated singer in Saul Paul. You're going to get to meet Linda Pringle Evans, who is the Dean of the EBW International School for Business. And you're going to get to meet the amazing Shirley Hogsett, who this was her dream to put this event on today, and she leads the global chapters at EBW. So come, just as Saul Paul said, grab a drink, sit down and relax with us, and we are so excited to kick this off with you. And with that, I have the distinct honor and pleasure to introduce our first guest, and that is the amazing Arndrea Waters King. You know, she is in Washington, D.C. right now. She was just there in Washington, the March on Washington, celebrating Martin Luther King's 57th anniversary. And we are so honored and blessed to have her here with us today. I'm going to give you a little bit of background on her, and I'm going to read this because I want to just try my best to do this justice. This woman is truly the first lady of the King family, the modern King family. Arndrea Waters King has dedicated her life to serving humanity and has lived her commitment by consistently supporting those who have been marginalized and silenced to find and collectively use their voice for change. A National Merit Scholar, Arndrea studied psychology at Emory University. Soon after, she joined the Center for Democratic Renewal. During her tenure there, she organized the first National Conference on Hate Crimes and Hate Violence. She played a key role in the mobilization for the Georgia Hate Crimes Act and prepared major reports, including the landmark When Hate Comes to Town. Arndrea also helped organize marches and rallies that led to the building of a major multiracial coalition, the Southern Coalition Against Racism and Bigotry. In 2006, she married Martin Luther King III. They have an amazing daughter in Yolanda. For those that saw or were part of the march yesterday, you got to see her living her grandfather's legacy and making that incredibly impassioned speech. And as the first lady of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference and the King Center, Arndrea championed several nonviolence, education, and social change issues while designing programs to advance understanding and activism. She was instrumental in the partnership with JP Morgan Chase to restore, preserve, and digitize the archives of the King Center. Arndrea and Martin are proud parents of Yolanda, who has already become an activist in her own right. She and her husband are currently developing the Martin Luther King III Partnership for Equity, Peace, and Justice. And I am so honored to introduce to you my sister, my colleague, and my friend, Arndrea Waters King.
Hello, I am Arndrea Waters King, and I am so very honored to be joining with you all today. We are still in Washington, D.C. As yesterday we were commemorating the 57th anniversary of my father-in-law's March on Washington and his delivery of the I Have a Dream speech. And I have to say that seeing so many, literally thousands of men, women, children of all ages, of all races come together at this point in history to recommit to the principles and the outline laid out by Martin Luther King Jr., to come together and stand for peace, for justice, for equity in all sectors of our society was truly very inspiring and amazing to witness. And so I hope that some of you had an opportunity to participate in some way. But I wanted to acknowledge each and every one of you for being here today and coming together to continue to lift up those very same principles that we were marching for yesterday. Because any type of march or demonstration is one day, but it's how we march, how we go forward each and every day that we really will find a way to continue to fulfill the dream of Martin Luther King Jr. You know, one of the things that he spoke about in his earliest writings up until the time of his assassination was the vision of the beloved community. And the beloved community was not merely a utopia. It is a place, it is a mindset where everyone, regardless of who they are, how they look, are treated with fairness, with dignity, and respect. And my family, my husband, Martin Luther King III, and my daughter, Yolanda Renee King, we firmly believe, our personal philosophy is that the way in which we create the beloved community of Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott King is that each of us have to tap into our own power, our own voice, our own passions. For some, they may not come to a march, but there is something that you can do, that you can get involved in your place of worship, in your place of business. There is a way in which all of us can find our passion and our calling and our talent and use some of that to help uplift all of humanity. And once all of us are doing that, that's how we create the beloved community. the King legacy is not to just be celebrated once a year in January. It is for it is something that each of us, in our own unique way, can work on, and I hope would work on every single day of our lives. The last book that Martin Luther King wrote was entitled "Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos or Community?" And when we're looking particularly at 2020, it might appear that we are not only appear, but we are certainly living through some very chaotic times. But what I believe is that in times like these, as we're going through chaos, and as we're redistributing actually, and reassessing all levels of our society, that is how we can create the community. And so I actually am more excited than ever before to see so many people coming together in so many unique ways and standing for love. And I firmly believe that we're going through what appears to be chaos so that we can create community. And it starts by what we saw yesterday here in Washington. It starts by what you all are doing today, coming together. And I'm so excited to see the outcome of this conference. I'm so excited to see the connections that are made, the inspirations and the aha moments that each one of us will receive. And I encourage you to continue to fight the good fight, to continue to use your talents and your resources and your brilliance to uplift each one of our communities, and certainly to uplift our community of women, to create that beautiful golden sisterhood, and that we will all, in one accord, create the beloved community of Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott King. Thank you very much.
Arndrea, thank you so much for that just inspiring, beautiful, powerful message. And it is so exciting to have the chance to spend a little bit of time with you today. I know you and the family are there in DC just doing incredible work. You know, for all of you watching with us, one of the things that Arndrea talked about was building the beloved community, something inspired by Dr. Martin Luther King. And as we talk about building that beloved community, key to building that community is, just as we said before, locking arms with our sisters and brothers, regardless of race, background, socioeconomic status, and more. I like to think about these relationships that we have with one another as our allies, that together anything is possible, and together we are stronger. And it is with that that I am so excited to introduce to you another soul sister of mine. She calls me baby girl. I call her baby girl. I'm just going to be transparent about that. I love this woman. She is the goddaughter of Coretta Scott King, and talk about a champion for women of all races, of all backgrounds. It's Ambassador Susan Johnson Cook. I'm just going to read a little bit of a bio on her before we bring her in. Ambassador Susan Johnson Cook is a national and international speaker specializing in cross-cultural competencies, business, and education, a diplomat, success strategist, community organizer, and third-generation Black female business owner. She helps others expand their influence and impact regionally, nationally, and globally. And this is so true. She has made an unforgettable impact, especially with women, seniors, and multi-faith leaders. She founded WOW, Woman on the World Stage, which hosts annual self-care retreats, which I love going to, celebrations, and works with the religious freedom and business on the intersectionality of business and faith, and with national nonprofits. She helped form the first ever global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce, and she served under two presidents, President Clinton and President Obama. And it is with that and with my distinct pleasure and honor to welcome you to my sister, Ambassador Susan Johnson Cook.
Thank you so much, Ivy, and thank you for your generosity of spirit and heart and kindness. You know, she talked about allies, and that's where we get the word alliance. We have an alliance, we have a friendship that goes beyond, as she said, race, anything, because we have formed together and walked together and locked arms together. I am so delighted to be here today, and I greet you with joy. I want to just thank my sister Andrea, who just spoke, and thank God for the life of her father-in-law and her mother-in-law, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Mrs. Coretta Scott King. 57 years since that great day that he marched. I was a child in the basement of Abyssinian Baptist Church where we were watching our parents walk on screen on a black and white TV as they were there at the Lincoln Monument. And we were learning the freedom songs and we were learning about the freedom movement. So I am literally a civil rights baby born into the movement. But I was also born in 57. So that number resonates with me. 57 years since his march. I was born in 57. So I'm a boomer. And I am so blessed to have met the King family, first Dr. and Mrs. King. When I was in fifth grade, they were at Hunter High School in New York, where I hail from. I wrote Mrs. King a thank you note, and she wrote me back personally. She typed it and she signed it. And for a fifth grader to receive something from the King family was awesome. Little did I know that as I was going to college, my senior year, her daughter Yolanda and King and I were actors. And so we met in the acting field together and we became sisters. I was at her house, she was at my house. We backpacked through Africa. And so Mrs. King said, "You are my other daughter." And so she named me publicly. She became my godmother as I was an adult. And so I had the privilege of walking not only next to a king, but to a queen. And so I am so grateful. And later, I would officiate her funeral with the thousands of people that came there. So recently, we have seen not only the March on Washington, but we've also lost Dr. John Lewis, the congressman. We've lost C.T. Vivian, the minister, Reverend James Lowry, and so many others who paved the way so that we could be here, so that we could even march today. There was a song when I was growing up, which was from Man of La Mancha, and it said, "To be willing to march into hell for a heavenly cause." Well, far too many of our Black men and women have had to go to heaven quite too early because there's been so much of a hellish cause going on in America. So I am determined to have a dream that Dr. King's dream will not die, but that it will live. But one of the ways that it lived for him was that he became a doer of the dream. Because unless there's action, if we just march and there's no legislation and there's no action, then things will stay the same. He fought segregation, he fought systemic racism. He understood that you have to dare to make a difference. And he also defied the odds. They said a young Black man from the South is never going to do it. He defied the odds. So I'm saying if you're a dreamer, you have to be daring enough to take the bull by its horns. You've got to be a dreamer and you've got to be a doer. I had the privilege, as Ivy said, of working for two presidents of the United States. And I stand on the shoulders not of just Dr. King and Dr. Lowry and Congressman Lewis and Dr. Vivian, but I stand on the shoulders of my late parents, Dorothy and Wilbur Johnson, who were from the fields of the South, North Carolina and Virginia. But they did not stay there. They dared to make a difference and they came north to New York and they had my brother and myself. And so we are the beneficiaries not only of the civil rights movement, but of parents who went from poverty to wealth, parents who went from an outhouse so that their daughter could walk now in the front door of the White House. We must be doers of the dream. And so I have a dream that my sons, my two sons, will not only have their dreams enhanced and come true, but that their children and their children's children will have their dreams come true. I have a dream that people like Ivy and myself will continue to be an alliance and all the wonderful speakers that you'll hear from today, and that we'll walk together and we'll work together and we will win together. So I thank Ivy for being one of my partners in the first Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce. We're bringing Black women business leaders from all over the world together so that we can work together, bring all of our gifts and our skills and our finance under one umbrella so that we can make a difference. I used to say the hand that rocks the cradle rocks the world. Well, now I say the hand that builds the cradle, trades the cradle, distributes the cradle, rocks the globe. And so We are so delighted to be in partnership with Ivy Ingrid Vanderbilt. We are so glad to be in partnership with all the wonderful speakers you'll hear today. And we're glad that we aren't just dreaming, but that we're doing it. So I just want you to know, sisters, we rock. Brothers, we're going to rock with you too. But let this not be the last day, that our dreams will not be deferred, but our dreams will come true. And so dare, defy, make a difference, and keep on dreaming. But don't just dream. Get up and let's do, because we don't want it to be a nightmare. We want this dream to come true. Thank you so much for having me, and have a blessed day.
Oh, gosh. Sujay, you are just one of a kind and a gift to just the world and to all of us. And just, I hope you all just enjoyed hearing from her. I always do. And I'm always grateful for our texts and our phone calls and our collaboration together. And you know, Ambassador Susan Johnson Cook talked about the partnership that we have together, and it goes far beyond, a business partnership. As I mentioned, she is my sister. But one thought I want to leave you with here before we introduce the next speaker is, as she talked about the Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce, and if we now sort of tie it back to what we heard from Arndrea King, talking about the beloved community and how we can each do our part. It was in a conversation with Sujay that I said, Sujay, what else can we do? What else can we do? And trust me, we've got a lot coming for you all. I can't disclose some of it, so you're going to have to keep coming back and be part of all of this together. But one thing she did say is, she said, let's partner up together. Let's partner up, the Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce and EBW. And so on behalf of all of the team members and the leaders at Empowering a Billion Women by 2020, we are so honored to be in partnership with that extraordinary woman and all of the women that are part of her organization. We are just so excited to continue walking, locking arms with you, and creating the future together. And so with that, and speaking about creating the future together, and just even asking that simple question, what else can we do? What else can we do? Well, it was that question that led us to where we are today. So I'll just go there for a moment. After the George Floyd incident happened, I know so many of us, all of us, were horrified to what happened, what was happening in our country, what's happening in our world, and horrified to think that some of these things continue to go on. And out of that conversation, the first phone call I actually made was to Linda, who you're going to hear from, and Shirley Hogsett, who I'm about to introduce, who I have the pleasure to work with on a daily basis at EBW. And I said, what else can we do? What else can we do? And a lot has come out of that. But it was out of that conversation that Shirley Hogsett said, we need to do something together that really celebrates the incredible legacy of Martin Luther King and what he set for us this year, being not only the 57th year, but this is Black Business Month. And so here we are today simply because we were willing to collectively ask that question. And then when the answer came and we said, oh my gosh, we're so busy, we prioritize making these relationships happen. And it's out of that I just want to keep pouring into you and encouraging you that just by asking that simple question and locking arms with your sisters and brothers of all backgrounds, that truly anything is possible. And so with that, again, honored to introduce to you your next speaker, the organizer of this event, Ms. Shirley Hogsett. She is the director of the global chapters at Empowering a Billion Women, and she is also the founder and CEO of Destiny Speaks Speakers Bureau, where her 20 plus years of experience and knowledge in the meeting and events industry has enabled her to book speakers at corporations, universities, professional and trade association conferences, and events globally. As founder of Destiny Speaks, she provides speaker marketing, and she helps CEOs, executive, and professionals increase their influence, build their brands, and grow their business revenue with public speaking. And as I mentioned, she is the director of the EBW Global Chapters. And with that, I introduce to you my friend, our colleague, one of the most incredible leaders that I know. You're meeting many of them today, Shirley Hogsett.
Thank you, Ingrid. It is such a pleasure to be here. Thank you for daring to have a dream that you could empower 1 billion women globally to create sustainable businesses. You know, as we think about 57 years ago today, when Dr. King took the stage at the March on Washington, he heard a voice from his friend, Michele Jackson, off to the side of the stage saying, "Martin, tell them about the dream. Tell them about the dream." Had he not listened to her and changed his speech, we would not have 57 years later celebrating the I Have a Dream speech, a speech that really changed our nation, changed our world, a speech that enabled us to be here today to do what we are doing. And as Ambassador Cook said, Dr. King was not just a dreamer, but he was a doer. And it's my pleasure to introduce to you 2 incredible women who are not only dreamers, but doers, to share their stories, to share their lives, to share their passions, to share what they have brought to the world. As Dr. King's message and his movement changed our society, changed the world, we in this space where we are today have another opportunity to create the change. And first, I would like to introduce you to Miss Tiffany Norwood. In the 1990s, Tiffany Norwood did something that no other entrepreneur has done since. At the age of 27, she raised $670 million to fund a startup. And that money was used to build the first ever global digital radio platform, launched 3 satellites into the space, including XM Radio, and supported the development of the MP3 and MP4 technologies. As one of the first successful Black female tech entrepreneurs, Ms. Norwood's career spans 52 countries, 30 plus years, 7 startups, and a patent. Now we can add Arthur to that list. Tiffany just released her first book titled Vote Like a Boss, an entrepreneur's perspective on innovation, leadership, creativity, storytelling, and voting, which is now the #1 release in speeches on Amazon. Currently, she is the founder and CEO of Tribetan and EdTech companies that teaches how everyone can be creative and innovative. An acclaimed global speaker, Tiffany performed around the world on innovation, entrepreneurship, storytelling, and the power of we, which we are demonstrating here today, including the European Parliament, Platform Summit, Yale University, and Newzim. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Tiffany Norwood.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me this morning and including me in this space. I want to give a shout out to all of the people around the world joining us today, and a special humble message of gratitude to EBW. EBW compiled this amazing list earlier in the year of 100 global women to watch, and I was honored to be on that list along with a lot of other heavyweights. I am especially excited about being here in this space with all the women that are on today, with the King family. My mom went to that first March on Washington, and I got a chance to also go yesterday. More importantly than ever, this message of unity and reimagining is critical to our future. We need to honor the past. We need to activate the present. And as I said, reimagine the future. I have so many dreams. I hope we can get through them all. But with the mission of empowering 1 billion women, today I want to talk about the billions and billionaires. I want to talk about voting and imagination and story and dreaming. And I want to talk about unicorns. I promise you, when this is done, it will all fit together. And when I say I want to talk about billionaires, I actually mean that I want to talk about you. You, everyone that's in this Zoom, on Facebook Live, on YouTube, all around the world. If you can hear me or see me now in this present moment, or when you're watching it on replay, you are the billionaire that I'm speaking of. And I'm not talking about dollars or pesos or euros or British pounds even. Nothing you can touch or see, yet you can spend it still the same. I'll share it with you, my story. I was born in 1968. Martin Luther King was still alive. It was coming off the tail end of the civil rights movement. And he was fighting for racial equality. Nelson Mandela was fighting against apartheid. Gloria Steinem for women's rights. The gay rights movement was forming, and the US was in Vietnam. Everyone around me seemed to be fighting. But instead of fighting, I was dreaming. And I had big dreams, dreams of inventing, dreams of starting companies, dreams of traveling the world. As far as I was concerned, my phoenix was rising. People in the 70s told me that my dreams were not possible for any race or any gender, but they were good to make the point for especially a young Black girl. I knew that my dreams mattered and your dreams matter, and that they are all possible with the power of the we. Beliefs have creative power, and here are my beliefs as a kid and as an adult. First, I believe that we are all connected in this world through God. Could I do it alone? No. Could we do it together? Yes. Second, I believe in the power of faith. And I spent faith vigilantly by telling everyone and anyone the story of my dreams. I knew that my believers existed somewhere in this world. I just had to find them. Yes, yes, yes. I needed a lot of miracles, and they came in the form of other people showing up at the right moment, in the right way, as mentors, co-founders, investors, customers. We made me the success that I am today. I co-founded 7 startups, from the first one-strap backpack to digital satellite radio to broadband internet to a virtual reality gaming platform to a healthcare clinic in Ethiopia that's treated thousands of patients to Tibetan today. I did get a chance to see the world. As Shirley mentioned in my intro, I've been to 52 countries, mainly as an entrepreneur. Maybe only 12 of them were holiday, right? It's such a unique perspective to be out there in the world as a fellow citizen. I got a chance to also be in South Africa in the 1990s after apartheid, and was able to work with then President Nelson Mandela. It all seems impossible until it's done. That little girl in me never gave up on her imagination. And please don't give up on yours. Your imagination is how God prays to you. Now look, I'm not going to say that it was as easy as telling stories. Yes, it was hard. You know, I've been called the N word and the B word and the C word. I've been called the whole alphabet, right? The lemonade of it all is this: it readied me at 27 to raise $670 million. Then we went to raise another $270 million. I also did a patent when I was a teenager, and just released my own book. Your dreams will never be free. And why should they be? Suffering is a price to pay. Patience a virtue, and winning the best response, right? Winning at your dreams, winning at starting companies, winning at raising money, winning at being the first in your family to go to college, winning at the right to vote. Happy 100th anniversary to the 19th Amendment and women's rights to vote. And happy 55th anniversary to the Voting Rights Act. I needed both. Let me ask you this question. Could I have done all those things, started companies, raising money, filing for patents, if I didn't have the right to vote? I mean, I'm talking more about the mindset of it all, right? Like if every 2 to 4 years, my country, my state, the people around me were like, okay, Black woman, we don't care about your opinion. We don't care about what you have to say. Voting is so much more than policies and candidates and political parties. Voting itself is also a mindset and an act of self-worth. Because the reverse is true. If I have the right to vote and I don't vote, well, what is that saying about other areas? What is that saying about my mindset in general? What is that saying about how seriously I take myself? I'll tell you, with all that traveling around the world, and back in the day, it was harder to do vote by mail or early voting. You had to get special permission to do absentee voting. But most of the time, I came back home. I would fly thousands of miles and I would be like, I have to get back home. My vote is going to change everything, right? My ideas will change everything. My inventions will change everything. My book will change everything. It's all the same thing, right? It's all the same mindset. Because if you don't think your vote matters, how in the world are you going to think your dreams matter or your opinions? Voting to me is an act of self-worth, like raising your hand in class, like speaking up to your family or friends. It's critical for success in business school and life. Consider voting as a practice in bossness, right? Consider voting like a boss, because I'll tell you this, leaders never waste. Leaders and successful people in general, let's start there. Successful people in general never waste the opportunity to make their opinion known or their voices heard. Vote like a boss. And in closing, I'm going to talk about another successful person, Hermione. Actually, I'm going to perform a poem. And when I say Hermione, I'm talking about Hermione Granger from Harry Potter. Vote Like a Boss, my book, is actually a collection of essays and writings and speeches and poems oriented towards the leadership mindset, creativity, and voting. And the closing of it is Hermione Rising, which is a poem dedicated to dreaming and imagination. And as we get into this election period and recreating the future, I think it's important to have, more so than anything, the right mindset. So let me start with this. When I say you are a billionaire, right, I'll give you the math of it all. So I'm in Washington, D.C. There's 1 million people in Washington, D.C., 300 million in the United States, 600 million in Latin America, 700 million in Europe, 4 billion in Asia, 1 billion in Africa, over 7 billion in the world. In the currency of faith and connection, you have billions in your bank account, right? Worthy and wealthy. Now, here is the most important question you will ever ask yourself. How are you going to spend it? How are you going to spend faith? I pray that you'll spend it on your dreams. When I raised that money, when we were building satellites, it was one believer at a time. One believer turns into two, a few, many, and there are billions of us in this world. Just take the first step by saying with faith, I have a dream. I mean, it sort of boils down to this, because I'm a person of deep faith, and I know faith has been more important than ever in these times. If I had to sum it up, my story goes like this. God believes in you. Do you believe in yourself? That first step is getting deep into your imagination and your dreams, and then telling the story of it to get another person to buy into it and help you create it. So I'll close with Hermione Rising, which is also the close of the book. It's dedicated to Hermione, where we have all this magic inside of us, if you read the book, as muggles, and it's just up to us to activate it. So Hermione Rising. I imagine something new, something different. I imagine a better way, something disruptive and innovative, used and revered, demanded and paid for, something transformative. Imagination, why do we deny it and discount it? It's the source of all innovation. Einstein was theoretical, not applied. Da Vinci, an artist and a scientist. George Washington Carver said, no vision, no hope. And Harriet, well, Harriet had to have imagined freedom before she took the first step. I have a dream of traveling in space, of curing cancer, of running for office of peace, unity, equality, and equity. You get what I'm saying? It's not about the how, it's about the why, the sense of purpose, the calling. No need to teach imagination, just endorse it. And with grace, give space for it. It's not to be packed away. It should be on display in schools and offices, a priority among the others. Serious vote for tinkering and for sketching and for making and for play. Forcing memorization of someone else's prior imagination is not the way. The recipe, give space to expand and extend a concept through empathy and understanding, through diversity and collaboration, and embrace for imagination in the case of them all. The more minds that imagine together, the more innovation blossoms. The more diverse these minds, the taller it grows. And if it's fueled by love and understanding, it thrives and soars. We are 7 billion strong brothers and sisters. We can do anything unless we fight each other. Go human or go home. Daydreamers, you are our future game changers. Your place is at the top of the class. Take out your wand. Oh, got caught in my hair. And cast the spell of I want that. It's okay if it's messy. Reality is always messy. Screw up and then rise up. Wield the magic of hope and faith. And know that the world may attack your genius now, but love you for it later. Hermione is rising, and her power is limitless. And by God's grace, so is yours. I pray at this moment in time that you will use it for the greater good and vote like a boss. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you so much for joining us today. And it's such a pleasure to call you friend, to do life with you, and to become a millionaire with you, because your energy is so empowering. And as we move forward, there's another incredible woman that I introduce to you right now, a woman who had the audacity to dream, to believe, and to do something that was impossible. And that woman is my friend, my sister friend, my mentor, Michele Hoskins. Michele is the founder of Michele's Foods. She used a recipe that was created in the 1800s by America Washington, a former slave, and her great-great-great-grandmother. She used this recipe to create a multi-million-dollar national specialty breakfast service business. In 1984, Michele began creating this product and manufacturing it, and this was the same year that she secured 2 of the top largest retailers in Chicago. And she also became the first Black woman, minority-owned business from Denny's, and also the first vendor for Walmart and Denny's. And this is when Michele went from the basement to over 400 stores. So it is my pleasure to introduce you, Miss Michele Hoskins.
Hello, hello, hello. Can everybody see me? Okay, great. You can hear me too? Okay, great. Thank you so much, Shirley and Ingrid, for inviting me and having me into your warm embrace with EBW. I had the pleasure of meeting Ingrid maybe a year and a half ago when Shirley had an event in Sears Tower. And I was so impressed by your organization and by you that I just keep, listening and trying to figure out everything that you're doing. And I'm so glad that you've had me a part of that this Saturday morning. Uh, yes, I started a company in 1984. I was a school teacher and I had 3 small children. So we're talking about dreaming. And I was a dreamer. I've always been a dreamer. I was a school teacher for these small children, going through divorce, had to go on welfare. And I read in the 80s that was a decade of the woman. And that meant that women were going to emerge as CEOs and executives of companies. And I wanted to be part of that movement. And not really understanding how to do that. I said, do I go back to school? What do I do? And at the same time, there had been a recipe in my family that my great grandmother, Arndrea Washington, whose mother died as a slave, and she stayed in the house as a cook for the family that raised her. They did not like molasses, so she came up with this recipe made out of churn, butter, and cream. And remember those 3 ingredients, because that is a part of what I try to motivate people to think about those 3 ingredients. So we'll talk about it a little later as I get into my story. So as we were getting this recipe, it was passed down to the 3rd daughter in each generation. And I was like, wow, maybe when I get the recipe, which I didn't get it because I was the only daughter, when my 3rd daughter received it, I said, wouldn't it be wonderful if I could pass a business to my daughters instead of a recipe? And that's how Michele Food started. It started in my mom's basement. I sold everything that I owned. I moved back home in her basement, and my 3 daughters and I would hand pack this wonderful concoction of honey, butter, and cream and take it around to retail stores. That did not work. And then I had to go in and really get serious about the business of retail. And that meant that I had to learn formulations and I had to learn a lot of things in order to position myself for the growth that I anticipated. So along the way, I had obstacles, but I've always been, we talk about a dreamer. I believe, and my family told me early on as a little girl, anything the mind can conceive can manifest through hard work, perseverance, and faith. And I always hung on to that because I thought, well, if I want to dream about something, how do you make it manifest? So you make it manifest through hard work, through understanding your craft, being very focused on what you want to do. I teach a program. I've mentioned almost 200 people in this space, and I tell people before I even get into the mentoring part or seeing if they're qualified for the course, is that if you cannot conceive it, if you cannot believe it, if you cannot believe your dream, you're not going to be able to manifest it. Everything around us was someone's dream, a picture on a wall, a light bulb. It was someone's blueprint that was able to be manifested into reality. So when God gives you that vision or that desire, something that you love doing, that's probably your passion. And if you can create that into something that can make you money while you're sleeping, you're on the right track. And so as I made this product in my mom's basement, I kept looking at the next big thing. And the next big thing was retail. How do I get on a retail shelf? And I had to figure that out. And once I figured out, it became easy to get on other people's retail shelves, to get the Krogers and the Safeways and the Albertsons and the Walmart. So I accomplished that. And then I became very conscious on who I really was. Here I am, an Afro-American woman in the food industry, one of the first. And that meant something in that space. So I utilized that to go in through diversity. So I became the first minority supplier for Walmart, the first for Kroger, the first for the other retailers. And then I saw that Denny's was in trouble with diversity. And so I called Denny's every Monday morning, perseverance, for 2 years at 10:30. And they said, what do you want to do? I said, I want to make product for you. Now, mind me, I didn't have any plan or anything, but I had a determination to step in and help them with their diversity. So I helped Denny's, and I'm in their book, The Reconstruction of Denny's, go from the worst in diversity to the best under the government by being a spokesperson and showing them how to do franchisees and do all the things they need to do. It was always like I was like a, consultant with them on the diversity side. So we moved on from there, and I really don't want to keep talking about my story because I think what I really want to convey is what we've done as Afro-American women. There's a book out called The Wealth Choice, and I'm in that book, and it's called The $50 Billion. Well, The Wealth Choice is Dennis Kimbro, but there's a book I call The $50 Billion Boss. And what that book tells us is that since 1993, Afro-American women have contributed $50 billion to the economy. $50 billion to the economy since 1993 through our businesses, through our endeavors. And if you think about that, how have we been able to transfer that back into our communities? So I've become an advocate for that. I've become an advocate for wealth transfer generationally. I believe that we should understand or try to figure out now, how do we transfer our wealth generationally? How do I pass this on? So that's why I said I wanted to pass a business on to my daughters and not a recipe. And I was very successful in doing that. And then I said, well, let me teach other people how to do the same, how to get in the space I'm in. This is a $50 billion a day space retail. It's probably $100 billion now with the academic going on. And so I really am adamant about that. I think that this is a space that very few of us are in. We have learned how to be great consumers, but we have not learned how to be manufacturers or to make things for ourselves. We buy from other people. And I just think it's very important for us to understand the business of business, understanding that if you have a craft, you really take that craft and you understand as best you can. As Shirley mentioned, I started my company 35 years ago, and I've always been in the shadow of the larger brands. Even though I was authentic, I was the real mother of service, let's say, and I don't want to say the real Aunt Mom, but the real mother of service. My product came from the real generational heritage, but I was always in the shadow. And I'm very close to my pastor, Pastor Winston, and we talk a lot about generational wealth and how to grow families and pass on faith and all that. And he told me, he gave me a scripture to write at the top of my journal. He just wrote it there. It was a wealth building scripture. And I wrote it and I just let it go. And I kept going and really trying to get my business up to a point where it was really a consumer awareness business. Even though I've been around 35 years, I wasn't a consumer awareness business. By that means consumers did not know who I was or what I made. And so about 18 months ago, I decided to put my face on my product. I said, you know what, it's time. For years, I didn't do that because early on as a young girl in this business, I was told that I would not be attractive. I would not attract the right consumer or the consumer that I wanted by putting my face on my product. And I believe that. So about 18 months, I did that, still in the shadows of the larger brands. And I'm gonna show you how strong faith is. And this faith has taught me something. So about 4 months ago, my daughter, who takes care of my Instagram, put a picture up on my website, a picture of Aunt Jemima and Michelle Serve. The next day, my internet crashed. I mean, it really crashed. It was like 17,000 people sitting on my internet. And I didn't understand why. And when I got up and really started reading and looking at the internet and listening to the news, Aunt Jemima had left. That was someone that I had been in her shadows for years. It changed my life. And when I say it was an instamatic change. And that's why I say to people, do not be afraid of what you pray for, be prepared for what you pray for. Because if you pray for something and you believe in it, and you have you have worked in your craft to the point where it's just, it comes to you like flowing water, then I think that's when God says, you're ready for this. Had this happened to me 10, 15 years ago, I wasn't ready for it. I was prepared because of the hardships I had gone through, understanding the back room, understanding formulations, understanding nutrition, understanding production, understanding that I had to have my own bottom mold. All the lessons that I learned in those 35 years, when people say, are you still doing this? Are you going to ever give up? No, because I wasn't in it for the monetary gain. I was in it for the generational pass-through. And it was my passion, it was the only game in town for me. So when that happened to me, when Aunt Jemima left, my sales went up 88%. I used to pray, and this is a nice to pray, God, all I want to do is move a bottle, 12 bottles a month. That would have given me a great income. I understood the dynamics of the investment. I knew everything. That next day, I was doing 12 bottles a minute. So it showed me that whatever you ask God for, it's never big enough, because his dream for you is bigger than what you could ever think about. It took a 35-year-old company that I was doing pretty good in, and it turned it into something that could have never, ever imagined. I was afraid to imagine that. I was afraid to be who she was, and she wasn't really who I was. Aunt Jemima was, and I never talked about her, or really, I respected that brand, but I always kind of felt a little shorted that I'm really the one that has this history, and I'm hiding behind you and Miss Butterworth. And when that happened, it was almost, I just felt like God was out busy doing everything he's doing, taking care of the world, but he stopped long enough to say, oh, I have a blessing for you. And it might have been just a second in my sleep. When I woke up, my life had changed. So I tell people that I mentor and I talk to about this. Yeah, I've been through, health problems. I've gotten through, God's got me through cancer. I've gone through brain surgery. I've gone through being in the welfare line. I've gone through loss. I've gone through being afraid. I've gone through nights when I couldn't pay the bills. I've gone through everything you can imagine in 35 years as a businesswoman. But I sit here today telling you that God listens to us, and God will give you whatever you need if you just keep doing what you're doing and perfect that craft. Because when you are ready, it's going to come to you. So I'm just excited about being involved with these wonderful women. I'm sitting here listening to these wonderful stories. Shirley, I love you for thinking enough of me to bring me in on this. Ingrid, I am just amazed at what you've done. I'm amazed at what all the other women have done. And I just want to keep the sisterhood going. And I don't want to be lengthy, so I'm going to kind of tone it down. But yes, Michele Foods is a 35-year-old brand. It's a home-based business. Well, it's a home-based business. Now it's not. But I do have my family working for me. And I have realized my dream that my father and mother passed on to me, that anything that mind can conceive can manifest through hard work, perseverance, and faith. And do not be afraid of what you pray for. Just be prepared. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Michele. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for your inspiration. Thank you for your words of wisdom. And thank you for staying true to your dreams and not giving up. Whew. What an incredible time of inspiration, an incredible time of hearing powerful women doing great things, fulfilling their dreams. And now I want to introduce you to a woman who has become a business partner, a friend, and a sister. She is my co-partner here in my responsibilities inside of EBW, and her name is Miss Linda Pringle Evans. She's going to tell you a little bit more about what we do here at EBW and invite you into this community. And so Miss Linda Pringle Evans, she is the founder, in addition to being the co-global director at EBW and the future dean of the business school. She's also the president of Pringle Business Consultant, located in Columbus, Ohio, where she's a brand strategist and development for companies. And its mission is to assist and empower women business owners to acquire 6 figures. She preached to us about 6 figures every time we talk. So ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce you to my friend, Miss Linda Pringle Evans.
Thank you, Shirley. Thank you so very much. I have become so inspired from hearing these ladies today. This has been awesome. Thank you, each and every one of you. You have touched my life, and I know you have touched the lives of those who are here as well. But allow me to say, on behalf of Ingrid Vandervelt, the EBW executive team, and the chapter leaders, we say thank you to our fabulous speakers, Saul Paul, and for everyone who registered to be here with us today. I must take a moment and say thank you to Ingrid for caring about social justice and equality for everyone. Ingrid has shown Shirley and myself that she desired to assist with bringing an end to injustice and equality. When George Floyd was murdered, she wanted to know how we were and how she could help. It wasn't just words, but action started with the conversation. The manner in which she addressed it within our team displayed her genuine concern, also partnering with Ambassador Sujay and the Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce. I want you to know EBW is genuine and truly supports all women who are seeking to grow and scale their businesses. EBW is here to help women in business and fulfilling their dreams. Today, I am thrilled to extend to everyone who registered an opportunity to continue experiencing EBW. You are receiving complimentary 3 months to our official membership. You will have access to our national and international chapters monthly meetings. We have chapters in Illinois, Ohio, Kentucky, Mississippi, Louisiana, Georgia, Texas, and Europe. You have an opportunity to expand your network and receive educational trainings to assist with the growth of yourself and your business. You will be among like-minded business women preparing to end strong within this fourth quarter. You will have the opportunity to attend, live trainings from Ingrid and from Pat Pearson with the self-stop sabotaging. That is a training you don't want to miss. There's more. You will receive the replay of today's event and access to the EBW library that is full of trainings for those who may be in the startup phase, those desiring to grow and scale. We have you covered. During your time with us, you will learn and experience firsthand the amazing educational benefits and hear what's coming in January 2021 for continual growth and success. If you joined us through the Eventbrite registration, you will receive an email on Monday on how to access the 3 months complimentary membership. Now, if you did not register, please send us an email to submissions, and that is submissions with an S, at EBW2020. Again, thank you for taking the time to help us celebrate 57 years after Dr. King's March on Washington and his famous I Have a Dream speech. As we have heard from these amazing women today, we are still fulfilling the dream. My final words are EBW Educational Community is here to help you to see it all, to do it all, and go for it all. Thank you.
Linda, Shirley, Tiffany, Michele, Ambassador Sujay, Arndrea, Saul Paul. We are beyond words, inspired, humbled, honored to walk this path with you. Thank you for inviting us to again lock arms with you, to have this opportunity to fulfill the dream that Martin Luther King set for us those 57 years ago when he gave his I Have a Dream speech. We hope that you will continue to lock arms with us and come and be part of these conversations. Because as you're seeing today, and as you're seeing the stories of these most incredibly successful, amazing women who have overcome every challenge in the world that we can imagine. And they continue to move forward successfully, building, growing, giving back. And then they turn around and extend their hands out to say, how can I help you? And so I just love that the team asked me, they said, Ingrid, what is your dream? This is my dream. Empowering 1 billion women by 2020 is my dream. And I have to admit, I so often think back to our president, John F. Kennedy, when he said, don't ask what your country can do for you, but what can you do for your country? And I'd like to build on that in this year of 2020 that has brought unexpected challenges and at the same time, blessings and opportunities at a level that so many of us can't even imagine. One of the biggest ones being the coming together, the unification of people of all races, backgrounds, socioeconomic status. And so as I think about those words of our former president, John F. Kennedy, and I really reflect on what really makes a country, what really makes our world. My dream. That was not planned, but thank you for giving me the opportunity to be so transparent. What makes a country, what makes our world is the coming together of people, loving one another, locking our arms together, helping one another, working together, realizing that if we're going to create the global sustainable future that we envision for our families, our communities, and ultimately the world, that it happens through love. It happens through peace. It happens through collaboration. It does not happen through hate. It does not happen through violence. It does not happen through discrimination because of how somebody looks, their background, their access, their opportunities. Every single one of us have the opportunity. I don't care where you are in life. I care actually very much about where you are in life. But my point is, we each have an opportunity to give back and lift up somebody else. So my dream for you today is to build on what we heard from John F. Kennedy. Don't ask what your country can do for you, but what can you do for your country? And as we look at this very important year in 2020, where the world will fundamentally never be the same again, I invite you to ask the question, what can you do for your fellow man, for your fellow woman, to help them, elevate you? And as you can see just through the manifestation of this event today, simply by asking the question, what can we do? What can we do together? That truly anything is possible. So thank you for being with us. I'm going to invite the amazing Saul Paul, Grammy-nominated singer, to come back and take us through the finish of this. And we are so excited to see you in the community and part of the family where we unify and bring economic justice for all. God bless you and have a wonderful weekend. Thank you for being with us.
Am I live right now? People see me? All right. So y'all saw all that? Okay, great. Love you. I'm good from the nose down as well. Today was amazing, man. I've had the honor to perform many different venues, do amazing things. Today was so powerful. Like we could have ended already. That was so amazing. I took notes though, and so my job here is to take us out on a high note. My job is to take us out on a high note. I want to create a song. I want us to create a song communally. There's so many of you out there. I can't see you, but you see me. But I saw you in the chat. So I was scrolling through the chat while everyone was speaking, and I took some notes, some standout notes, right? And also some things that just spoke to me. Michele Hoskins, do not be scared of what you pray for. Be prepared for what you pray for. That stood out to me. That was also in the chat. Don't pass on a recipe, pass on a business. And she spoke about generational wealth. That was powerful. She had a vision to do 12 bottles a day. Now she's doing 12 bottles a minute. Amazing. Tiffany, I think she pulled the wine out of her hair. That was amazing. That's coordination right there. God believes in you. Do you believe in you? Vote like a boss. Shirley, she didn't say it today, but when we were preparing for this meeting, she mentioned Luther Vandross. And she asked, could I play his song, Impossible Dream? I was like, no, that's just an impossible thing. You just said Luther Vandross. No. Plus, I don't do covers, but I do freestyle. So I'm going to incorporate that as well. Thank you, Shirley. Thank you, Sujay. Thank you, Ingrid, just for this entire lineup and everybody else that made it happen. But the theme itself is fulfilling the dream, right? So all those things I just mentioned to you, if you notice, it'll be, if you catch it, well, it'll be there regardless. If you catch it, you'll see me bring up some of those points in this improvisational song. I take a song that I take us out on. It's called Be the Change. I've been thinking about it, I should be the change. Ain't no way around, it's time to be the change. Ain't no doubt about it if you're tired of the same. Now it's time to be the change, be the change, be the change. Oh, oh. Yeah, yeah, oh, oh. Yeah, yeah, oh, oh. Yeah, yeah, oh, oh. Ingrid, yeah, she shed tears. Me, I had to shift gears. The water that I need goes down my throat. I'm feeling parched, but still like a boat. I will float, get these quotes. I just will rehash what was spoke in a different format. Everybody says stand up, don't be a doormat. That's just a straight fact. I do what I do, yes I take that. And give back nothing but love. That's why every chance that I get I rise above. When I think about music, it's unity. And unity to me is you and me. EBW, that's community. Now the whole world, yeah, they viewing me. On YouTube, question, what do you do? Now check this out, say, if you do big things just like Norwood. Now check it out, say, my floor's good. I'ma stand on it, stand on my shoulder. I'm gonna count this house, and even if I need new boulders, I'm gonna hold it down and be the change. Now the chorus, together the same. Together the same. Okay. I've been thinking about it, I should be a change. Ain't no doubt about it, I'm gonna be a change. Ain't no way around it every time the same. Now it's time to be the change, be the change, be the change. Oh, oh. Yeah, yeah, oh, oh. Yeah, yeah, oh, oh. Yeah, yeah, oh, oh. Check it. habits. And if I'm doing right, if I'm doing well, then I probably shouldn't sit and watch my neighbor fail. We could all rebel, we could all succeed, but I gotta be a change, I must be the lead. So I guess I'll lend a helping hand, show love to my neighbor and help them stand. 'Cause I've been thinking about it, I should be the change. Ain't no doubt about it, trying to be the change. Ain't no way around it, I'm tired of the same. Now it's time to be the change, be the change, be the change. Oh, oh. Yeah, yeah, oh, oh. Yeah, yeah, oh, oh. Yeah, yeah, oh, oh. Make this next year your